Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. I was right. Why? Because you have to pay attention. You have to pay attention, you have to memorize, and you make patterns. And then you assess. So why? Because we as humans, we usually react or act in the same way under the same circumstances. So you're gonna probably say the same thing in the same issue, related to the same issue. You're probably gonna react in the same way if someone punches you in the face, right? You're not gonna say, "Oh, I love you," and then you punch someone else in the face. It's a little bit of consistency. So what happened here? If you remember that IL-76 transport plane that was carrying 65 or 64 Ukrainian prisoners in for a delivery, for an exchange, for a swap with the prisoners. The Russians wanted to swap some prisoners with the Ukrainians in Belgorod. That was shot down by a Patriot missile. That's what the Russians said, including the Americans. So again, the Ukrainians shot, as I said, they will not inside Russia's territory. So it was shot down, destroyed, and then the thing. Oh no, it was no evidence that it was any Ukrainian prisoner to be exchanged in that plane. It was only a few Russian generals or whatever officials and so on, and they could not show the pictures that they showed. They did not show bodies and so on. So the West and the Ukrainians started promoting there was nothing like this. They were lying. The Russians just create a false flag. Yeah, it was shot down, but it was nothing like that, and so on. So as I know already how the Russians act, they do the same. They do the same thing under the same circumstances. If they have the evidence, they wait for the imbeciles to, empty their magazines or whatever, and after that, before they can recharge or they have no more, magazines to recharge, the Russians bring their big bazooka and shoot them and blow them up. So same thing. I gave you many times this example from 1960, I think it was, when the Soviets downed that U-2 spy plane, American one, and the Americans thought that the pilot died, so they denied everything. They said because they didn't expect the Russians to be able to down it, and nevertheless the Russians did it. So then they said, "Nah, it was nothing." The Russians, the Soviets are. If I said Russians, you should punch me in the mouth right now. Okay, the Soviets lie again, and we didn't do this. We don't spy, blah blah blah, and the Soviets waited. Okay, and after these guys emptied their stupid M16 or whatever they have, those guys came with the bazookas and boom, showed the guy on the TV, the pilot, and everybody was like, scratch my balls, cluck 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 cluck. Yeah, it's true. So the same thing happened with many times, even in the Ukrainian war. When the Russians said something, this guy said, "No, that's not true," and the Russians showed videos and provided the evidence. Now, again, the Russians said, "Well, we identify each and every prisoner, the DNA, blah blah blah." These guys, well, forget about it. No, nobody died. Now the Russians tell the Ukrainians, "You know what? We are ready to give you the bodies of the guys who died." And the Ukrainians now are like, "Do you mean those guys that we said there was nobody?" And now they run for cover. They try to say, actually, it was, no, we didn't receive any offer." And what I said before in the videos, let me first show you the title of this article, so we know what we're talking about here from now on. Ukrainska Pravda: Russia says it is ready to hand over bodies of those killed in IL-76 crash to Ukraine. Okay, that's one that this guy said, "Oh, there's no human remains in the pictures. It's a lie." Blah, blah. Okay, maybe it's a lie. It's a lie. I said the Russians could do only one thing. Only one thing. I said if those guys, the plane had no Ukrainian prisoners, the Russians could do this: kill 64, and then they provide the bodies, 64 prisoners that they have, and they provide the bodies of people that did not die in the crash; they were killed somewhere else. That's how criminals can do. But other than that, if they were going to give the mutilated bodies, the same. I want you to understand this. We humans are capable of conducting horrible things under certain kind of circumstances. So everything I'm saying right now, for some of us, sounds, "Oh yeah, that's yeah, okay, they did it before." For people who do not know better, they think the one I'm talking about here is uh, this is Hollywood. Well, grow up, start reading, and stop listening to the imbeciles. So, when I said about the Russians being capable of doing what I just said, some other people did it before. Okay? So don't, even worse than this. This is what some people can do. Remember the Katyn forest, okay? And let's move on. And then you blame the Germans for that. If you don't know what Katyn forest is, it's exactly what I said. Go and freaking, okay. But the people who know what I'm talking about, these guys can do that easily. If indeed there was no prisoners in that plane. I don't know if there were. The problem is the Russians now they said, we are ready to give you the bodies. And the Ukrainians are caught with pens down regardless if the Russians do the horrible thing that I said humans can do and provide the 64 bodies, pop, 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 and whatever they do to them. I mean, you don't have to pop, 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 because obviously it was a plane crash, right? But you know what I mean. So let's go back to the article and see what these guys are saying. Let me put my glasses. Russian human rights ombudsman Tatania Moskalkova has said that Russia is ready to return to Ukraine the bodies of the prisoners of war it says were killed in the 24th of January crash of an IL-76 cargo plane in Belgorod Oblast. Russian propaganda outlet. Okay. And I'm quoting, we have everything we need legally speaking. The bodies can be handed over according to existing procedures. End quote. She added that she is in contact with Ukrainian representatives working on the case of the downing the IL-76 and that the Ukrainian side was interested in seeing the bodies returned. End quote. Moskalkova clarified that she was discussing this issue with Dmytro Lubinets, the Ukrainian parliamentary commissioner, to whom she had already replied to questions about the incident. Regarding the bodies, I immediately informed the Ukrainian side that we have DNA evidence, which with the help of experts allow us to identify the people. Moskalkova said, update, Yusov, representative of Ukraine Defense Intelligence, told Ukrainska Pravda that Ukraine has repeatedly addressed Russia on the issue of handing over the bodies. No, that's not true. They said you didn't kill anybody. They asked for them, but they said you didn't kill anybody. I mean, we didn't kill anybody. Working in this regard is ongoing, as is the investigation into the circumstances of what actually happened to the IL-76 and who was really on board. See, these guys are still working on that one. And it's not impossible. As soon as we can disclose the results, we will announce them. Yusov said. Ukrainska Pravda has reached out to the Ukrainian ombudsman Dmytro Lubinets for comments. And I tell you what he said, because I read an article on that one. He said, we didn't receive any, we don't have any contact with the Russian ombudsman, Makalova, regarding that now. So these guys are still saying, no, they're not. We'll see. I personally suspect the Russians have the bodies. I'm sorry, some bodies. Now, I don't know if those bodies are the ones over there or the ones that I just said before. They will have those bodies, and they will be ready to give them to the Ukrainians. The Ukrainians, what they can claim, say, these are not the bodies, but they have to say, these guys just probably will use the same thing I said, right? These are just dead bodies that now they give it to us. They were not in the airplane. The problem is this. I think when you do the transfer of prisoners, you give the names of the guys that you transfer, you swap, and you receive the names. So if the Russians can match the names, the list of the names that they provided the Ukrainians before the airplane was shot down, then what are they going to do then? You can say, well, wait a second. The Russians planned it in advance. They did this. They give us the list of these guys right here that they had in custody or prisoners. They took the plane out. We shot it. It was empty. But it was a different plane. We just shot it. And now they come with the list of the guys that they already had. The plane had nobody in there. And therefore, that's how it matches the names. Well, I don't want to be doing here mental gymnastics to justify the Ukrainians. The thing is this. The Ukrainians denied, without even knowing. They shot down the airplane with an American missile. That was, how to put it? It was not illegal. But the Ukrainians said they will not use, and the Americans said Ukrainians promised not to use Patriot missiles on the Russian territory, not on where they fight. And they did. Now, personally, I say, why not? But on the other hand, if you use them, you're already involved. I'm talking about the United States of America, which always said they are already involved. If you give a bullet to my enemy, you are my enemy right there, and you're involved in the war. Sorry, I'm not going to wait for you to escalate it further than that. I will escalate it straight to the end. You punch me one time, I knock you out. I don't punch you one time back. Oh, let's be proportionate. No, because I didn't do anything to you. You do something to me. I don't do anything to you. I had a problem with a neighbor, not with you. And you got yourself in, you affect me, I'm going to fuck you up. That's the way I roll. Sorry. Whenever I can. When I can't, I just run with my tail behind my legs and shoot while I'm running. All right, my friends, here it is. We'll see. I told you, the Russians, I think, have all their ducks in a row, and they know exactly what they're going to do. And these guys, again, are caught with the pants down. You know what they're going to do? The Ukrainians and the Americans are going to keep their mouth shut. These guys will not hear about it. That's what they do. They will ignore the whole thing. You will not hear only from me and others, hey, how about those bodies? What bodies? Because these guys will not follow up with that. It's going to be dead. The subject will be non-existent. Therefore, the issue will be remaining in people's heads with the propaganda they provided a month ago and before whatever, when it happened. That's what they do. They don't pick it up. They don't say, well, let me tell you, people, we said that they were not, but here is the evidence it was. They were lying. No, this is a war. It's not a, I'm not talking about only that kind of war, this kind of war. So yeah, I'm waiting. I said it before, and that will happen. The Russians have the evidence, or make it. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just. I wanted to say something most about Stalin, and it was like, let's see you next time.